listening to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 79, Proximity, Part 2. Last time, when we talked about proximity, we talked about that when we are close to something difficult, close to something that is burning, then that experience feels completely different if we have a way out or not. When we have options, when we have ways out of a burning situation, out of burning proximity, then we can distance ourselves because we know that soon, whenever we want to, we can choose to step out. We bear no real risk. We carry no real risk because we can just walk away. In contrast, when we have no way out, when we have no options, then close proximity to something burning, to something difficult or complex, then we must find a solution. We must adapt. We must conquer or coexist with whatever it is that we have close proximity with. It's a completely different situation. Today, in part 2 of specific skill proximity, we will expand on this second kind of proximity, the one when we have no way out, when we have no options. Today we will talk about something we all do when we have close proximity to something difficult or someone we find difficult. We will talk about how we distance ourselves when there is no distance. We will talk about blocking, how we block each other, how we put up something between you and me. Let us say that it is you and me that find one another to be burning proximity, difficult. Let us say that. All of us have different ways of blocking, different ways of putting up something in between us so that the burning sensation will burn less, so that the burning sensation will cool down. Our first choice that we almost always choose to put up between us, to distance, is time and space. This is the most elegant solution. To just give the other person space, give ourselves space, and consequently give the other person time and give ourselves time. Sometimes in life we decide to give one another very much space and a whole lot of time. Years may pass. Many years may pass. This is a way to deal with burning proximity. We put time and space in between us. This is very common. Sometimes it is not possible to put space and time in between us. When we have to work together, when we have to coexist, if we want to reach another goal, then we need to distance ourselves by other means. We need to block each other in other ways. And here we have a whole range of social dynamics. We may change our appearances. To change our appearance in such a way that the dynamics cools down somewhat. Another common way to block each other or to get some cooling is to cover ourselves, to cover our neck, to wear some kind of hat or headwear, or wearing sunglasses or facial hair or heavy makeup, or even in modern times, different face masks. These are all examples of how we block each other because the proximity is simply too strong. It burns too much. Yet another example are tattoos. Me, for example, I wear this kind of dark black tattoo on the back of my right hand. And this tattoo is kind of sinister looking. So if I bring it up and show my hand in some way, then it's quite a clear communication. It's quite clear blocking that I need some space. And most people, I would say most everyone, understands the communication. And we all have these different ways of putting some distance between us, to block one another, because it burns too much. The most modern example of how we block each other in close proximity are the smartphones and putting up technology between us, like a shield. Putting up this computer, handheld computer, with access to internet and a camera, a video camera, and sometimes even filming, recording. This modern example of blocking is quite extreme. It has gone very far. The burning is burning very bad when we feel we have to actually record and film one another. Then it has gone too far. Then the proximity is out of hand. I would say, and I could be wrong, there could be other examples that are more adverse, but I would say in these times that if the most elegant way to put distance between us is to give each other space and time, then I would say that one of the most not elegant ways is this, to take up our technology and film one another. It's very extreme. It's common these days, unfortunately. It's common, but it is extreme. It does things to us, this behavior. It is not good. Necessary maybe, in this context, yes, but not good. I want to finish today's episode by talking about yet another way of distancing ourselves to each other. And that is to mimic each other. It can sound paradoxical, but if I am in close proximity with someone and I find it very difficult. And in some way, I want to distance myself from this person because the contrast between me and this person feels too strong. So I need to somehow erase this contrast between us. And then one way I can do it is to in some way mimic the other person. Let's say that I dress the same way as the other person, or dress in the way that the other person wants me to dress. Then the burning sensation will cool down. This technique is submissive in its nature, that I would change myself, change my appearance, or change my views, change my opinions, change the way I talk, change the way I use my body language, change my interests. It is submissive, but if the goal is to just live together in close proximity and cool down this burning sensation, then it does the job. It works. And all of us do this all the time in these kind of little fleeting situations. When we do it just a little as we meet, we just call it flexibility, to be flexible or to be agreeable. And when we do it for a longer period of time, when we do it in a sustained way, then we start calling it submissive, or like we are denying ourselves. And that is the case. It does the job for the proximity problem, but it is submissive. And it does not feel good long term. It wears us down long term. And everything we have talked about today falls under the situation worn out, symbolized by 3 red dots, like being worn out. And being submissive like this, to change who we are for a sustained period of time, it wears us out, it wears us down. And one day we will collapse from this. It is not meant to last. To be submissive is not meant to last. We can do it for some time. All of us do it for strategic reasons, once in a while, and sometimes even for a sustained period of time, but it's not something to build a life upon, not long term. And now we enter these times of increased conflict, increased stress, increased anxiety, And in such a time, proximity will burn more. It will be more difficult to live together. We will feel the need to distance ourselves, to block one another. And it will demand of us to be creative, to find ever new solutions to how to live in close proximity, meanwhile coping with these difficult times where stress is just all around. Everyone is feeling stressed right now. Everyone is afraid. And everyone needs to block. Even you. We need to be graceful about this. That we need to block right now. We have little choice in this. What we can choose is how we want to do it. To be as creative as we can and to try to find the most elegant solution. But it is hard. Sometimes we will fail. Sometimes we will feel that we are submissive when we do not want to. And sometimes we will not accept to be submissive. Sometimes we will just choose dominance. That's it for today. Thank you.